कृष्ण प्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नीति नामिने।
नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादिशतारिणी।
नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादिशतारिणे।
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद।
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद।
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद।
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद।
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद।
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद।
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Radha Nila Madhava Radhe,
Jaya Radha Nila Madhava Radhe,
Jaya Radha Nila Madhava
Jaya Radha Nila Madhava Radhe.
Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha.
Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha, Jaya Lakshmi
Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya. Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Prahlad Narasimha.
Ram Jaya Sita Ram Jaya Sita Ram Jaya Lakshman Hanuman.
Jaya Sita Ram, Jaya Sita Ram, Jaya Sita Ram, Jaya Lakshman Hanuman.
Hari Bol,
Hari
Hari
Bol.
Bol, Hari Bol.
Gita Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya
Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Radhika Leela Mataji. And to
Thank you so much,
Sam for
Prabhuji.
joining us.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
So, Prabhu, shall I share screen with that PowerPoint?
Yes, yes, please.
I'll stop my video, Prabhu, and
So welcome Rashmi ji, Bhaskar, Saurabh.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So, is this the first slide, Prabhu? Okay, thank you so much.
yeah, sorry, Prabhu.
Yeah, so welcome to the graduation ceremony of 2021. We used to do this in the temple with lots of, pomp and show, but with pandemic, it is all based on Zoom. So we will enjoy it this way. So on the next slide, what you will see is our deities, Radha, Nila, Madhava. These are the Radha and Krishna deities from our temple. Their name is Radha, Nila, Madhava. And basically, we are affiliated with this Radha Nila Madhava temple, which is also known as Vedic Cultural Center, which is also known as ISKCON Washington, ISKCON Seattle, many names. But ultimately, these are our bosses, and whatever we say and do is in service to these deities. So, yes, the next one is His Holiness Harivilas Maharaj, who is driving and sustaining this temple since last 20-25 years. The temple was there before when Srila Prabhupada came to America, and he empowered a lot of people to accept Hinduism as we see it, the Bhakti Parampara within Hinduism. And many people were trying, but they were also struggling because of the old habits. And hence the temple leadership was not stable. And that is where many people thought we should close down this temple. This was like 25 years back. But Harivilas Maharaj is a expert on turning around, there are some CEOs who are expert on turning around the companies. If they are loss-making companies, dwindling companies, closing down companies, they take over and they turn them around. Chrysler was one example, right? Lee Iacocca. So many examples like that. But in the spiritual organizations, Harivilas Maharaj is the expert on turning around the temples which are struggling to settle, struggling to grow, struggling to sustain. So he walked in, and many people walked up to him and said, I think we should close down this temple and we should move to some stable temple so that our life is comfortable. Otherwise, we are struggling too much even for everyday sustenance. Like there were like at the most maybe 20 people visiting every week. And, if 20 people are really contributing to the temple, how can the temple run? What Maharaj used to do was, he was running his own business. And his business was basically providing health ingredients and quality alternate supplements through Whole Foods and other health stores like that. So he had his own business. He used to contribute the money into the hundi, And from that hundi, they used to make the feast, and that used to be with the 20 people. It started like that, and he kept continuously his effort. And now VCC, Vedic Cultural Center, is a very vibrant organization with multiple dimensions to it. Like we do festivals. Our festivals are attended by 25,000 people. When we have 2 farms now, we have dozens and dozens of cows. We have second temple starting in Bellevue. We have a spiritually minded school where kids can learn the education from the childhood. They can learn it on the principles of Bhagavad Gita. Although the education is what they should get here, but it is touched with the principles of Bhagavad Gita, and they have the right association as well. And then there is a whole full-fledged Vedic university, which allows us to explore the spiritual knowledge in a systematic manner, not just in English, but we're also trying it in so many other Indian languages. Maharaj also visits South India, and he's trying to, one of our friends from here, his name Vedanarayan Prabhu, he was a Microsoft, manager. Very stable life, couple of houses, growing and stable life. And that is where he decided to relocate back to South India, not to take another job. He gave up on the idea of job, and he's like roughly my age. And he is basically dedicating all his life, last many years, I would say 7, 8 years plus. He sold 2 of his houses right in the middle of the recession. And he moved to South India only to preach Bhagavad Gita to people who are kind of left alone, because everybody is coming to USA and there is nobody teaching spirituality in South India. And as a result, there are lots of other problems happening. So Maharaj, Harivilas Maharaj visits South India. He visits Vedanarayan Prabhu, and he is also helping him preach over there. So Maharaj is not just here, he's now expanding around the world. That is the good news. He was a temple president in Paris. He was temple president in San Francisco. Both were struggling temples that he helped turn around. The San Francisco temple had a big loan. He just paid it out of his pocket. So basically, although he's a grahastha, he's a married man with 6 kids. His life and heart is fully dedicated to creating, sustaining, and growing Bhakti Parampara in America. So next slide, we will talk about Radhesham Prabhu. Radhesham, just like Harivilas Maharaj on the previous slide, came to Hare Krishna at the age of 18, 19, and then he said, I'm never going back to my old life again. Like that, Radhesham Prabhu also came in a very young age. He was in college in IIT, and he got exposed to Bhagavad Gita and the principles of Bhagavad Gita. And he said, if this is the purpose of life, which is to be connected with God and serve God and help all the children of God go back to the Supreme Father, why should I be doing anything else? Now, can you imagine Satya Nadella and so many other successful IITians that we see, how much, they're as good as ruling the earth by leading big companies like Microsoft and Sundar Pichai, like Google. And that was the fortune that was meant for these people who are gold medalists from IIT, MTech. But he decided to say no to all of that. And he said, okay, my goal of life is teach Bhagavad Gita. But now it's a deadly combination when you have a gold medalist IITian learning and teaching Bhagavad Gita. And that is where he has made it very easy for all of us to not just learn, but also teach. And that is why he has systematically divided the curriculum and created layers and levels. And this is really going well. All these PowerPoints that we use in the device are created under the leadership of His Grace Radhesham Prabhu. And his temple in Pune is one of the most successful temples, very fast growing, 20,000 people currently following him. And every year we ask, there are more number of temples and more number of people studying Bhagavad Gita. So, and he's also gotten awards in ISKCON for doing what he's doing, which is Global Excellency Award, I would say. So next is where are we in the big picture? Because say, if you are connected with this Vedic university, it is very important to understand where we fit. So basically what we are taking is a program which is more at a kindergarten level, which is Discover Yourself, in which we expose very fundamental principles of Ishvara, Jiva, Kala, Karma, Prakriti. So these are the 5 principles of Bhagavad Gita. At an architecture level, we introduce this. And once we have the basic foundation in place, that is the qualification. That is where we graduate as a DYS graduate, and that becomes our entry point into the Bhagavad Gita study, Srimad Bhagavad Gita study, where we can study through. It will take 1 or 2 years of dedicated study, just like how we are doing DYS, same level of commitment. But if we keep up that commitment for a year or two, we can complete the whole study of Bhagavad Gita. And the Bhagavad Gita, when you complete, and there is an exam, when you pass that exam, it's called as a Bhakti Shastri certification. So, so for those who are inclined with spiritual studies and want to go deeper and deeper into scriptures and study, it's combination of Sanskrit and English. You need to know English, but if you can recite few verses in Sanskrit, that's the qualification that's required. Where we in detail understand the different types of yogas, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, how they are connected to each other, and what is in it for me, right? And what does really Krishna want? The fundamental point we learn is how to recognize a original Bhagavad Gita from duplicate Bhagavad Gita. For example, there are like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of commentaries available on Bhagavad Gita. Great. But then how do we know which one is original and which one is somebody's opinion? And that is where we give the litmus test that Arjuna, when he learned Bhagavad Gita straight from Krishna, he reflected back on what he understood. And if that understanding is same as anyone's Bhagavad Gita, then that Bhagavad Gita is original. But if Arjuna said A, B, C, and somebody else says X, Y, Z, we can make an intelligent choice about who could be right. So that is where it is. Human beings by nature are limited in their ability to understand and perceive things. And that is where there is so much of confusion. That is why there is separation of powers within democracy, because human beings by nature are fallible. They are susceptible to their mental disorders. They are susceptible to their senses limitation. They can get illusioned. They can make incorrect decisions. And that is where there are lots of checks and balances in today's society for the proper governance of the government. And we still see things falling apart. And that is where we need to learn Bhagavad Gita from people whose mind and senses are under control. They are living a austere, if possible, celibate life. And that is where we have a higher chance of getting the original knowledge. But if we go after somebody who is more like, they are trying to acquire wealth, acquire influence, acquire things, possibly we are not getting the original message. We are getting their thoughts, which is okay to learn somebody's thoughts. But life is short, death can arrive anytime. And if we want to perfect our life in the shortest amount of time, we want the original truth, the final truth, the absolute truth, the truth that can liberate us, the truth that can make our life perfect. Even if the death arrives today, we should know exactly how are we supposed to die. Because Bhagavad Gita not only teaches you how to live, it also teaches you how to die. And once we know how to live and how to die, that is where the life is success. Because you will see lots of self-help kind of books which allow you to live life a little better. For example, there is a book that how to win friends and how to influence people. And then we come to know that that same fellow had to jump from a building and commit suicide because he couldn't find a single friend with whom he could really reveal his heart. So How to Win Friends is a great book to write and influence a lot of people, but are you able to benefit in your own life? And that is the limitation between the knowledge that flows in the parampara and is original and it touches our heart, just like the bulb in this room is on because it is connected to the power grid and the power plant. Like that, the spiritual knowledge that is connected to original God will be enlightening, refreshing, and it will also give us a way of life. We're still on the previous slide. Bhagavad Gita is how to live. And then the Srimad Bhagavatam really gives you examples in the history, critical histories of the world, where we can learn from not just what we're doing today, what's going to happen in future, but also what happened last few thousand years and what happened last few million years. And by getting a context of the history across millions of years, we get a bigger perspective of life, and we start to realize how small I am, how insignificant I am, and what is my role in this whole universe, and how what happened to other people who were practicing spirituality in the past. Did some of them do any mistakes, and how I can avoid those mistakes, and how did some people did it well, and what was their case study. So it's like a case study, Harvard case study of people who attempted spirituality in the past. But in the process, we learn a lot about our heritage, our culture, our values, the rights and wrongs. And that is where Srimad Bhagavatam was revealed when Lord Sri Krishna left this earth 5,000 years back. He knew Kali Yuga is coming, so he manifested himself back in the book form. So Srimad Bhagavatam is basically Krishna himself. And if that book arrives in our home, which is a book set, I would say 18,000 shlokas, 12 cantos, 18 books. If this book set arrives in our home, this is like Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. That means by regular reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, anything inauspicious in our life will go away. The good news is this book is also available online, and it is freely available just by clicking on a website. We can give you that. It's vedabase.net. But it's also available in the printed form, and you can receive it in the house, keep it in a respectful place, and start reading it a page a day, and you will see that life is getting so much perfect. So as you see, we have the kindergarten, we have the schooling, and then we have the college level education of spirituality available over here. After that, there is post graduation, but I will not bombard you with details on that. So on the next slide, what we will see is whatever we are saying, this Gauranga Chandra Das and Ramamukunda Prabhu, we're talking about few principles and things. Trust us, we were not this smart 10 years back. We didn't know many things, and we were struggling in our life just like anybody else does. But the knowledge that we are talking about today is basically coming from books, and the books is like books that we saw on the previous page. And this knowledge is carried for thousands and thousands and thousands of years in a parampara, which means the guru gives that knowledge to disciple, shishya, and the shishya becomes the guru and gives that knowledge to disciple. Like this, it has been carefully guarded and completely transferred from generation to generation until it arrived with, Abhay Charnar, Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. But that's the 32nd generation, right? But if you can go back to straight Lord Sri Krishna, 5,000 years back, that's how the knowledge has been traveling. And on the next slide, we will learn a little about Srila Prabhupada, as we call him with love. And the parampara is what we talked about. On the next slide, we will have more information, which is ISKCON, which was started in 1966. Now there are 600 temples around the world. And you have to count, every temple is basically multi-million-dollar property, yes? You know what it started with? It just started with Prabhupada traveling at the age of 60 plus, 65-ish, and just carrying 40 rupees in his pocket. He started from a cargo ship, not even a normal flight or anything, cargo ship, because all that he could get was one ticket from the shipping company. And the shipping company gave him one ticket. They refused, actually. They said, you know what, American winters are so harsh, you are so old and fragile, Swamiji. If you go over there, you will die. We will not give you the ticket. But Prabhupada insisted, said, no, please give me the ticket. My Guru Maharaj has said, please preach in English to the Western world. So I need to follow him. And that is where he went to, on the ship, to the Jaladuta was the name of the ship. He went to America. When he landed, he didn't know to turn left or right in the New York. And that is where he started his journey. But by Krishna's grace and his originality of his intentions, he acquired 10,000 disciples, could build 108 temples around the world in just 10 years after he went over there. And that is the beauty, that one may not have anything. Like Srila Prabhupada, his accent was Bengali accent. The hippies couldn't understand what he was saying. And for six months, they wouldn't understand what he's saying. All that they knew was he's a well-wisher and he's trying to do good for them. These hippies, they had a rule, and that rule was, if anyone is above 30, we should not listen to them. because these were all 16, 20-year-old kids. And their definition was, we don't want to listen to anybody over 30 because they're going to tell us what to do, which is not right. But Srila Prabhupada, being 65 years old, he could connect with them. And he was able to uplift them from the position of unlimited sex, unlimited drugs, and do what you like, no need to wear clothes, eat what you like, sleep wherever you are. They're like bumps. From that being bumps to being like perfect Vaishnavas. That was the journey they were able to cover just by connecting with Srila Prabhupada, eating prasadam regularly, which was offered to Lord Sri Krishna, Radha Krishna, reading the books, and being in the association of people who are spiritually minded. If that is the potential that the Bhagavad Gita holds for people who are in complete maya, I would say, they're completely in the illusion of life. From there to they can come back to so much of spiritual reality. What is our situation? We already had a good start. We heard about Krishna from the childhood. We have been to temple some point in time. We have taken some darshan some point in time. So we have a chance, we have a solid chance to perfect our life, which is evident from just this last 50, 70 years of ISKCON movement. It is not hypothetical. It is not something that happened to somebody 5,000 years back. No, it's right now and here. I have spoken, I have connected to so many people like Harivilas Maharaj who perfected their life right now and here kind of situation. And we have seen those examples and we have heard them speak. We heard them get that spiritual shock when they connected with Prabhupada. And that is where our faith in Prabhupada is so strong that as long as we follow Prabhupada's words and intentions given in his books, in his audios, we are super confident that this can be our last life. The death can arrive today, but it can be our last life if we have taken, say, a serious study in ISKCON and we are following the regulative principles of no meat eating, no illicit sex, no intoxication. So all these principles are there to guard us from the no gambling, guard us from the vices in Kali Yuga, which will drag us down, which will make us miserable. So these are basically, although I may say, yeah, I will not do gambling and I will not do illicit connections with anyone. But basically, these are the principles of freedom. Why these are principles of freedom? I can be a human being. I can freely connect with the society in a way that it is nourishing for me and nourishing for others. Right? Because I'm not out to exploit anybody or anything. So that is Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So on the next slide, we will see that the Vedic Cultural Center is just one of those 600 temples around the world, but we are benefited primarily by this temple because we are living here next door, I would say. And this is the temple that was basically an old house where the windows were leaking the air and we had to run the heater all the time. And it was 20 people visiting. It was basically a broken property, old house. From that old house to what you see, this beautiful temple was brought in front of my eyes 10 years back. And that is where I realized what is possible because it all happened in front of my eyes. It was a congregation of 15, 20 people, most of them working software engineers with beginning their spirituality. But Harivilas Maharaj's leadership, a $5 million loan was taken from the bank, $4 or $5 million. And it was built on the loan. And now that loan is also paid off. And now we're starting another temple in Bellevue. So it's a very, very encouraging journey to see that when one person takes Bhagavad Gita seriously, what is possible? Now, this is like a graph going up. But what are we seeing around the world? The graph of Vedic spirituality is going down last 1,000 years. So this is like a contrast that we have a graph going down in which you see a graph going up. That means somebody has figured it out. Somebody has figured out what works, what does not work. Now there are hundreds of volunteers which are affiliated with the temple. They work really hard in their day jobs. They take care of their families with lots of love and affection. And then they give a little spare time to the temple, like over the weekend, 1 or 2 hours. But that 1 or 2 hours over the weekend is what is sustaining this beautiful temple. It is growing, it is expanding into more temples. There are cows, there are Gir cows from India. And there is Ahimsa milk, means those cows are giving milk and people are consuming that. So all of this is possible only because of somebody taking it seriously. And who is that somebody? In this current scenario, it is His Holiness Harivilas Maharaj. He took it seriously. He's amply supported by his right-hand man, His Grace Namavrata Prabhu, as you would call him as Taraka Prabhu when you come to temple. Very humble, very simple person, no show, no pomp. If you visit Seattle ISKCON Temple, there is almost nobody who doesn't know him. Everybody knows him. Why? Because he's there in every service, he's assisting everywhere, and you will never see him on the microphone. You will never see him on the screen. You will never see him giving big classes. But he is basically behind everything that is happening. So that is his greatness. Followed by that is Vrajay Kurpa Prabhu, who is our chancellor for the Vedic University. He's a scientist in cloud technology, and basically he has lots of IP on his name. He has done lots of research and inventions. And, but in spite of all that, he's also running a Vedic University. That means he guides all the teachers who are giving Bhagavad Gita classes, device classes, and he keeps us inspired. The good news is people who graduate from this batch are qualified to jump into his batch, which I will be sharing the invitation with you very soon. So he's also very, very amazing soul to connect with. And then we have some vibrant, powerful volunteers. I may not have everyone listed, but I'll call out Jaipal Prabhu as Srinivas Reddy Prabhu, who anybody visiting the temple, they'll talk to them very enthusiastically and explain about device class. And this device class can change people's lives. So there's a team like that. And then I'm amply supported and partnered by Rama Mukunda Prabhu, who is a very, very sincere soul. You heard his class on the law of karma. And he's a very upcoming spiritualist who is very sincere and very bright future, because he does no mistakes. He's very sincere and he's very hardworking. So this is device team. I would like to thank the whole device team behind us. When you see something good, there is a team behind it. And then coming to our device graduation, the attendees who volunteered to give their names, there are more on the next slide. But these are the people: Saurabh, Bhaskar, Rashmi, Ashmita, Pooja, Itikanchan, and Sukrut. Congratulations for patiently completing the course in spite of a boring teacher like me. We have certificates for you, which we will be sending it on the WhatsApp group. They look very beautiful, and that's your kind of entry ticket into the serial study of Bhagavad Gita. And these are two batches, basically, the current batch and the previous batch. And we're learning how to do this on the Zoom, which used to happen in the temple, but hearty congratulations. So now we have one more slide, Prabhu, with the list of people.
Yes, Prabhu. These people, I have observed that they were attending consistently, but they have not given their name explicitly.
Their names, but from our perspective, they are also device graduates. Sushma, Shruti, Vatsala, Manoj, Vikas, and Shrinika, congratulations. And thank you for tolerating my classes. So we will have certificates for all of this. Now we can go back to the previous slide and see. We would like to take your thoughts, your your reflections, and what you find in the device course that touch your heart the most. We'll kind of time limit it to like couple of minutes, 3 minutes, where you can just express your heart as you like. So we can stop sharing the screen, and then we can just talk a little bit. At the end, I'll take question answers and we will close it out. Ramamukund Prabhu, do you want to add any comment?
No, Prabhu, it's all good. But just to mention about Prabhuji little bit, Gaurangchandra Prabhu. So he basically introduced me to Krishna consciousness around 10 years back. So that impressed me a lot, and that gave me confidence that this is not just a theoretical study, but it also can be applied in our life, like the people like us, right? Like who are kind of IT professional. They can also, not only study this, but apply this. That gave me confidence, and he guided me a lot from the beginning, and I'm very happy to, I'm very, in fact, very enjoying. It's a very blissful journey with him, continuing this Krishna consciousness with his family and everybody around. Thank you, Prabhuji.
You are very gracious.
I wanted to introduce you to it.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, so can we take turns in talking? We want to hear you guys, we want to see you guys, and we want to get your reflections on what's working, what's not working. Yes, Rashmiji, do you want to go first?
Sure. Hare Krishna. Thank you,
One more
Prabhuji.
orientation of video, if you can. Is it your phone? Maybe you have to just orient
Yes,
it.
it is phone. Okay,
It's
so
perfect.
this is better.
Yeah,
This is nice.
this is good. Yeah.
Okay.
So please go ahead.
Thank you, first of all. I was introduced by my niece on the Bhagavad Gita course, and I always ran away from anything spiritual because I could never internalize it. I had too many questions on which I thought were never answered properly. Even when watching Hindi movies, I could never figure out. They keep talking about Bhagavad Gita or Gita pe kasam rakho, but then nobody would really, talk about those principles in detail. And we are at different phases of our life, and the questions, like even whether you are a child or you're a grown up, there are certain things innate to every person, and they want those answers, and you keep pushing those based on where you are at life. Other things take importance. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, for me it seems um, I found my path, and I'm really excited. I also felt it's a lot of strict discipline, but once you understand things, it's easier and you're excited about it. So that's all I want to say, and I really appreciate my niece for introducing me here to Bhagavad Gita class, and Prabhuji, both of you, for explaining so nicely at a very layman's language. Um, our questions, all our answers to all our questions. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Rashmiji, congratulations, and thank you for sharing your heart. And we welcome you into the family where we will continue studying Bhagavad Gita together.
Thank you.
Who would like to go next?
I can go next.
Yes, sir. Video on, please. Yeah.
Hi, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I like quite a few things about this course, and so I was introduced by my wife and my son to this course, and of course you. So we came to the temple, and we got information about this course. So I thought I would join this, and I specifically liked your enthusiasm to start with for giving us this knowledge, and then the introduction basically to start with, how we are trapped in the material world, and I like that analogy where you said like we are trying to polish the cage in which we are in, and that's something which I specifically remember. And then our discussion about the distinction between body and the soul, I thought that was pretty intriguing. And after that, I think everyone tries to find like meaning in their life, or what's our purpose, especially after our basic requirements are met. That's when I thought like the session on karma, akarma, and vikarma, that was particularly enlightening. So having had some basic introduction on that, I'm pretty excited about this course and the next one. So yeah.
Very good, Saurabh. Very nicely encapsulated the device. Amazing. We're excited to have solid students like you into the Bhagavad Gita study. And we hope and pray that one day you'll be teaching and we'll be listening.
Thank you. Hare
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, congratulations, sir. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes. Who would like to go next?
I can read the next name. So Bhaskar Ashok. I see Bhaskar. So Bhaskar, you want to go next? I see I got name as Bhaskar Ashok. You want to share something?
Yeah, he's chatting Hare Krishna. I think he's not able to get on the
Maybe,
phone
yeah.
or something.
Yeah. So
Yeah, he's chatting. So Iti Kanchan, would you like to be on the video?
Yeah, can you hear me? Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, actually, I'm based out of here in Pune, in India, and this session, I mean, this DYS course was introduced to me from my
so
through my
excuse me,
brother.
Mataji, can you orient your video? It is I
Yeah,
think
now is it
your
okay? Because I can
no,
see
it is
myself on the screen.
horizontal for us. Gauranga Prabhu, is it?
Sorry.
Oh yeah,
No.
this is good.
This is nice. Yeah, this is nice.
Perfect.
So I was introduced to this session through my brother. He's in Sammamish, and he told me that there's a session coming up. You should attend. He is associated with ISKCON in Sammamish. And yes, like Lakshmi ji said, she was totally away from this topic and she had many questions. I didn't have any questions also because मैं इतनी away थी. So, but yes, I had this Bhagavad Gita book in my house years back. Since years back, I had bought it from ISKCON itself, but I never took it up. And but I don't know. This session made me do this, and moreover, Prabhu, the way you teach, the clarity that I got in many aspects of Bhagavad Gita. I mean, I'm still a learner. I mean, I don't know anything at all. But yes, questions keep coming up and I try to find it out. I keep on asking also. So I'm very, very thankful for this session. But again, this one question, again, this is coming up in my mind right now, that until the time I'm hearing you, till the time I'm reading, till the time I'm associated with such people, I am into this spiritual world. But once I'm out, I'm totally out. I don't know. I don't even react to the situations that I shouldn't have been reacting. But then again, I see कि ऐसा तो मुझे नहीं करना चाहिए था. This has not helped me grow in the spiritual world. But how to overcome that, I don't know. I know it will come with the practice, but how to even practice, I'm totally blank. How do I? Because ये गृहस्थ में रहते हुए, it's very, very difficult to each and every time to keep on, going on with this kind of. But again, I would like your guidance, Prabhu, on this. But yes, thank you so much. The way you teach, it makes me, more comfortable to ask you questions. This is what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you so much for sharing your heart, Kanchanji. Who is your brother in Sammamish? What is his name?
Nitin Mehrotra.
Oh, Nitin.
Yes.
Nitin Prabhu की sister है.
हाँ जी.
दंडवत प्रणाम. नितिन प्रभु हमारे मंदिर के पिलर है, पिलर खंबा जिसे कहते हैं ना. तो उनकी सेवाएं, उनका जो सर्विसेज है, उसका बड़ा महत्व योगदान है हमारे मंदिर में. तो हम तो बड़े भाग्यशाली है आपसे कनेक्ट होके. तो
प्रभु मैं भाग्यशाली हूँ आप लोगों से कनेक्ट होके, और ये सब उन्हीं की कृपा है जो वो हम सबसे करवा रहे हैं. हम क्या कर रहे हैं.
ये जो क्लास मैंने इस टाइम पे रखा है ताकि इंडिया के भी लोग ज्वाइन कर पाए, उसका पर्पस ही यही है कि अगर कोई यहाँ पे कनेक्टेड है तो वो वहाँ पे कनेक्ट कर सकता है अपने फैमिलीज को, और अगर कोई वहाँ पे कनेक्टेड है तो यहाँ पे कनेक्ट कर सकता है. तो दोनों तरह से फायदा है. और रही बात आप पुणे में हो तो अगेन आप बड़े भाग्यशाली हो, क्योंकि पुणे में बहुत सारे कमांडो प्रीचर्स है. उनको सुनने के बाद आपको लगेगा कि गौरांग चंद्र को सिर्फ हाथ में झाड़ू देना चाहिए मंदिर में, उसके अलावा उसके कोई औकात नहीं है. तो उसमें आप कौन से एरिया में रहते हैं पुणे में?
पुणे में प्रभु जी मैं ये औंध के पास रहती हूँ, बाने में. बट मैं एक बार ISKCON टेम्पल गई हूँ इधर पुणे में भी.
नहीं, आपकी तो चल पड़ी. फिर आपको मैं कनेक्ट करवा देता हूँ वहाँ की लोकल टीम से.
जी थैंक यू.
मैंने अभी ग्रुप के ऊपर एक मैसेज भेजा था गूगल ड्राइव के ऊपर, इंट्रोडक्शन टू चैप्टर 1 और 2
जी.
वो क्लास अगर आप सुनोगे तो आपको क्लैरिटी आएगी कि किस तरह के प्रीचर्स वहाँ पे है.
प्रभु जी मैं कहना चाहती हूँ, मैंने वो क्लास अभी सुनी है और मतलब मेरी लिटरली लार टपक रही थी 3rd चैप्टर सुनने के लिए. It was so like I was left hanging.
Yes. तो आपकी इच्छा मैं आज ही शाम को पूरी कर दूंगा. मैं आपको चैप्टर 3, 4 और 5 का भी क्लास भेज दूंगा. वो पेड सेमिनार है, मैंने बैकडोर से छुपा के उसका ऑडियो निकाल के आप लोगों को भेजा हुआ है.
थैंक यू सो मच. आज मैं पूरी रात वही सुनने वाली हूँ.
वेरी नाइस। और वो उनका नाम है हिज ग्रेस कन्हैया ठाकुर प्रभु, जो मेरे भी शिक्षा गुरु है। उन्होंने, जब मैं पुणे में था 3 साल, तो उन्होंने मुझे टपली मार मार के लाइन पे रखा और सिखाया। तो वो वहाँ पे बानेर में क्लास देते हैं हर फ्राइडे को। तो मैं अपनी इति कांचन माता जी से उनका कनेक्शन करवा दूंगा, ताकि वो लोकल, क्योंकि वहाँ पे बड़े इंथुजियास्टिक डिवोटी है, तो उनकी संगत में सबका ही कल्याण है। तो वो मैं क्लास भेज दूंगा आपके लिए। थैंक यू सो मच।
Thank you.
Yes, Prabhuji, do you want to call names so that we know exactly who wants
Actually,
to go?
Prabhu, you're having some trouble. Are you okay now? Are you able to talk? Bhaskar Ashok? He typed in the chat window also. Maybe Prabhu.
Sunita ji, you are online. Do you want to give some words? Sunita ji is veteran from our previous device batches that I did some time back, and she's now, since then we are very, very good friends. You are on mute right now. Sunita ji, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. So 2 years ago, I attended session with Prabhuji, and that was a life-changing for me. And I read Gita completely on my own. I attended some Gita sessions, but couldn't join physically. So wanted to get back on track again. So this class is helping me refresh some of the learnings I did 2 years ago, as well as some of the things I learned from Gita. It is again refresher for me by listening to you, Prabhuji. And it just helps me to set myself little bit in balanced mode. I not get too stressed out for the things I'm going through, or just look at the things the way they are, and gives me much more peaceful mind to handle my situation much better. So thank you very much for all your help and sharing all the knowledge you are sharing. Prabhuji, we couldn't hear you.
Yeah,
Welcome.
thank you, Sunita ji. You are like sister to me, and I wish and pray everything gets better and better and better.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, Prabhu, next one is Ashmita Madhav. Is Ashmita Madhav there? I don't see.
I think
her on
Baji
call.
लग चुकी है. आपका voice
Yeah, so
break
next
हो रहा
one is Madhav. Is Ashmita Madhav there? I don't see her on the call. Mari,
can see
is
who
she
are
there?
the
On the...
people here. I think everyone has
So
spoken.
now, I think from this list, is
No, from the people who are available, I think Vatsala Kamath is the only person who has not spoken. Vatsala ji, would you like to speak? All right. So now we will take up the questions. Anyone has any questions that we felt from the device it was not answered? One question was, are the number of souls growing? Because there are number of people growing on this earth. But if you look at the definition of, as per Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna that there was never a time, Arjuna, you should not worry about killing these kings, because there was never a time when these kings were not present, you were not present, and I was not present. Clarifies in one go that we all are ever existing. We are not like, born here and die now. We are not in that situation. We are eternal in nature. So our presence is aligned with the presence of God. Just like the sun rays come from God, from sun, we come from God. But sun and sunshine cannot exist separately, just like that God and we do not exist separately. But fact also remains that we come from God. The number of souls are finite, but their number is infinite. I repeat, the number of souls are finite, but their number is infinite. in the sense that there are unlimited number of souls. There is only 1/4 of the existence is this material world. And in this material world, the rebellious souls are sent for some correction of attitude. Okay. And we don't belong here. We belong in the spiritual. In the spiritual world, there are more number of souls because, in any city, country, location, people in the jail are less than the people in the society. Just like that, we are here as an exception. This is not normal. This is not normal where we are looking for certainty all the time. We are not getting it. We are looking for knowledge all the time, and we are in ignorance most of the time. And look at the fake media. Even you try to enlighten yourself, it is not possible because people are trying to tell you the wrong thing. And then we want to be blissful and happy all the time, and we are struggling for it. So this is a Asat, Achit, Nirananda place, and the body, and that is where we want to go back to our original spiritual existence. Now, what around us is a living thing and a soul? Yes. Plants? Yes. Animals? Yes. Human beings? Yes. What about bacteria? Yes. What about viruses? Yes. Every cell in our body is an independent soul. Because what is the size of the soul? The size of the soul is 1/10,000 the tip of the hair. So you take a tip of a hair, break it down 100 times, and then take one piece out of that and break it down 100 times more. That's the size. So even with electron micron, you cannot see the soul because it's different dimension. It is matter and antimatter. So we are not able to see it. But it is so powerful. It can power my heart, it can power your heart, and it can power the heart of a whale, which is so huge. And its heart is probably a SUV size. And still it is able to power that. So this soul, which is our true nature and existence, is everywhere. Now what happens, our body cells, even within our body. Now count the number of bacteria, number of viruses, and number of body cells we have. So you are only worried about yourself, which is that one soul, which is in the region of the heart and enlightening the whole body and running you. But what about the other souls in the body? So if you look at it, you already have an army of souls within you, which is more than number of people on this earth. So trying to compare the number of souls just by counting the living, moving things around you to the total number of souls in the existence does not even match, because you are carrying more number of souls than what you can count by the other formula of people on the earth. So now how the disease strikes, when we become unhappy, what exactly happens? If our mind is not stable, if our mind is not in balance, the body cells are continuously tuned and listening to the mind. If the mind is stable, God conscious, aligned, then the cells will listen and the body is healthy. When the cells which are listening to the mind, if the mind is disturbed for a long period of time, unstable, then the cells will rebel. And when the cells rebel, that is when the disease strikes in the body. So even in homeopathy, there is a strong connection between the mind and body. And that is where the best way to keep your body happy is, or healthy, is to keep your mind happy. And it's very difficult to keep your mind happy. And that is where we learn spirituality, because that will take care of one of the major problems of life, which is disease. So prevention is always cheaper than the cure, right? And that is where we invite all of you to study Bhagavad Gita, so that mind is stable, happy mind, happy body. And that becomes the tool by which you can enjoy the spirituality and go back to the Godhead. We are born, death is guaranteed. That is not a question. But how we die depends on how we live. And how we live depends on how you live your day. And how you live your day depends on what you do in the morning. And what you do in the morning depends on what time you go to sleep. So our recommendation is go to sleep early, wake up early, do little chanting of God's names, do little reading of Bhagavad Gita, or listen to some spiritual class, and then begin your day. Life will change. 21-day challenge. Okay, so that was one question. What was the other question?
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. This is Manoj. That question was from me. So
yes.
Thanks. Thank you very much for elaborated answer, and some clarity I got. So thank you very much, and I will be keep learning. And from a previous session and all, like I attended those classes. So it is a starting point for me. And the one class which was for karma, Vikarma, so those one I went into the depth, and also that one which I like very much. And so thank you, Prabhuji. Thanks for your answer and this one. Thank you.
You are welcome, मनोज जी. आप दर्शन भी दे सकते हैं अगर आप चाहते तो.
Okay.
और अभी नेक्स्ट बैच शुरू हो रही है नेक्स्ट वीकेंड से. You can enjoy the full show.
Yeah. So thank you.
Namaste. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So the important part to understand is it's not like the knowledge is new. The knowledge existed in the ether forever. The knowledge existed on the internet for quite some time. The knowledge existed in books so long. What happens between now and then is what I'll tell you the story of my mother. She took a Marathi Bhagavad Gita from ISKCON Juhu, where we grew up, and she was reading it for months, for years. She was reading it. Kuch nahi chamka. Then my parents came to Seattle. In Seattle, first thing they started enjoying, because by that time my family had started enjoying Bhagavad Gita. We were cooking sattvic food. We were Bhagwan ko arpan karke, we were eating the prasadam, and then we were connected to temple, we were doing services. तो तभी मेरे मम्मी ने यहाँ पे एक भगवत गीता मराठी में उसको दिया मैंने. He started reading it, चमका. तो उसने जाते समय, इंडिया जाते समय बोला, गणेश ये भगवत गीता का मैं लेके जा सकती हूँ, क्योंकि ये अमेरिका में जो मराठी भगवत गीता है दैट इज बेटर देन जो जुहू में जो मराठी भगवत गीता है. तो और दोनों ISKCON का है. तो मैंने कुछ उसको समझाया नहीं, बोला ये लेके जाती मम्मी, नो प्रॉब्लम. और फिर वो लेके गई. वहां पे जाके उसने कंपेयर किया. माय मम्मा इज अ साइंटिस्ट है. उसने कंपेयर किया दोनों भगवत गीता. फिर बोला आया, अरे गणेश दोनों भगवत गीता सेम है. जो सालों तक नहीं चमका वो 1-2 महीने में कैसे चमका. तो मैंने बोला दैट इज द पावर ऑफ डिवोटी एसोसिएशन. आप जब भक्तों के संगत में आते हो, प्रसाद खाते हो, भगवान के रोज दर्शन करते हो और भगवान का कथाएं सुनते हो, तो it's like going to the gym, being in the company of friends who are also exercising. Then you learn अच्छा हेल्थ के लिए डाइट कौन सा है, फिर आप वो डाइट भी लेते हो, फिर वो लोग बताते हैं ये वीडियो देख, वो वीडियो देख, इससे तेरे को और समझ में आएगा. एंड देन यू स्टार्ट बिल्डिंग योर हेल्थ, राइट. स्पिरिचुअलिटी इज आल्सो लाइक दैट. अगर टेनिस खेलने के लिए हम लोग को कोच की जरूरत है, अगर पियानो सीखने के लिए हम लोग को टीचर की जरूरत है, तो क्या लाइफ का सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करने के लिए हम लोग को कोच की जरूरत नहीं है. तो हम लोग को भगवत गीता और टीचर, इन दोनों का सपोर्ट लेके हम लोग फट से कर सकते हैं सब कुछ. बट प्रभुपाद ने जो एम्बियंस दिया है हमें, मंदिर है, प्रसाद है, दर्शन है, कथा है, कीर्तन है, म्यूजिक है, डांस है, ये सब करते करते मजा भी आता है और हमारा जो स्पिरिचुअल क्वोशंट है वो बढ़ जाता है. तो स्पिरिचुअल क्वोशंट क्या चीज है? देयर इज अ इमोशनल क्वोशंट. मतलब हाउ इमोशनली इंटेलिजेंट यू आर. There is a spiritual quotient and then there is an intelligent quotient, right? IQ क्या है, EQ क्या है और SQ क्या है. Some people are very, very intelligent, some, even people like who are successful in life could be very, very intelligent, and they are some of the richest people in this earth today. But are they emotionally intelligent? Many times no, they are very hard, rude, or they don't care about the society. So you will see that it's one thing to be intelligent and it's one thing to be emotionally intelligent. And then emotional intelligence होने के बावजूद भी आपका spiritual intelligence क्या है, spiritual quotient क्या है. I can be a billionaire, I can be even emotionally intelligent to understand what others are thinking, what they need and want, and how to manipulate them. But then having spiritual quotient, I could be an infant in that area. I could be a toddler in that area. I could be a kindergartner in that area. We need to understand these are the different dimensions. और जैसे ही हम लोग stocks में बहुत अच्छा invest करते हैं, the way we invest in stocks is diversification, right? So वैसे हमें हमारे life में successful होने के लिए we need to invest in all dimensions of our life. Health में भी invest करना है, education में भी invest करना है, family और social life में भी invest करना है, और spirituality में भी invest करना है. Then your portfolio is balanced, and a balanced portfolio will sustain you much better than a portfolio which is like I will invest all my money into one type of market, and then when that part of the market crashes, you are dead. For example, if I only invest in my family, and the day family life collapses, and it can collapse, it can be divorce, it can be departure of dear ones and near ones, it's all going to collapse one day. So then we are completely devastated because, oh my God, I invested so much into my immediate family, but then this is what I got. Okay. If you just invest into wealth, one fine day you will have all the wealth of this earth, but you won't have anybody around you to enjoy it with. What do? People leave their heritage in the name of dogs because they don't have anybody around, no friends, no family, nothing. So सिर्फ wealth में invest करोगे तो that can also fail completely. But if you invest in your relationship with our Supreme Father, who is God, then irrespective of what happens in life, I repeat, irrespective of what happens in your life, you are still strongly connected and you can keep going and you can live every moment in full bliss, irrespective of what happens in this life. Why? This life is only connected to this body. And if you are not this body, who cares? One is able to rise above everything that is going around us. And I would highly invite you to look at Santa Tukaram movie from 1936 or something. The movie was, I have friends of mine who do not know Marathi. They watched that movie through the closed captions, the CC, and they enjoyed like anything. When the movie was released, it ran in one theater for 1 year, which was a record at that point in time. It was played in all embassies, American embassy, British embassy, the Viceroy saw it. It was played everywhere. That's the kind of movie it is, Santa Tukaram movie. And if you watch that movie end to end, everything I said in DYS class will come together again as an example of Santa Tukaram Maharaj. And it's amazing that the people of Maharashtra are able to, and simple villagers, people educated, uneducated, they all get out of their house and walk on the roads. Ladies, gents, they sleep on the side of the road. They don't care about their food. They don't care about their shower. They don't care about their safety. They don't care about weather. And they're carrying Tulsi Maharani on their head. And they go till Pandharpur. And in Pandharpur, there are lakhs and lakhs and lakhs of devotees. They only take the darshan of the top of the temple, the Kalas, and they take a U-turn. And they're fully satisfied in coming back home. There are people who don't have a rupee and they can participate. And there are people, I know builders from Pune, who travel in their helicopter every day in the morning. They join the yatra. They walk the whole day. Whatever is the point, people go to sleep. They'll come back in helicopter to their home. And next day morning, they again go back and continue. So whether you have a helicopter or you have nothing, you can still be the devotee of Vithala, who is none other than Krishna. And it all started with Santa Tukaram Maharaj doing it. And that is the power of one human being, one person taking God's name seriously. We all have inherited that potential. We all have inherited the potential to not only perfect our life, but the whole humanity. We can change the dimension of human future and earthly future just by studying Bhagavad Gita properly. That is the power we have. That is the potential we have. And if we are sitting on that potential and doing nothing, not only we are doing disservice to ourselves, we are doing disservice to our family, we are doing disservice to our country, we are doing disservice to our ancestry, we are doing disservice to everyone who has helped us in life, because we have a potential and we are not using it. Now, when we have something and you don't use it, what happens? We lose it. For example, I have healthy legs, but I don't use them. Like if I put my leg in a band-aid for 6 months, when I remove the bandage after 6 months, that band-aid, then the leg will not work because it has not functioned for 6 months. What if you don't use it, you lose it. As a human being, we have a very, very special power, which is to rise above the problems of food and problems of social life and family life and take up the spiritual life. That's the power we have. Dogs and cats, bats and rats, they don't have it. We have it. If we don't use it, at the point of death, we lose it. When we go into the animal life, we are deprived of the capability that we have now. And in the 8.4 million species of life, Chauranshi Laksha Yoni, when we are making that trip over there, as a soul, we still remember, I had the choice, I didn't use it. I had the choice, I had a Bhagavad Gita. And we are at such a fortunate time in the timeline. We are in Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, you don't need complicated process. Just remember the name of God. That's all. Chant the name of God. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That one mantra is enough to not only solve the problems of this life, but the problems of life forever. It comes from Kali Santaran Upanishada. If you don't take anything away from this device course, if you don't want to connect with ISKCON, you don't want to come to temple, you don't want to organize religion, You don't believe, you think the whole world is out there to get you and exploit you. You know, Ram Nam Japna Parayamal Apna. Those kind of people are there in the market. Okay, great. Don't do anything. Just take the name of God every day at home.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Prabhuji.
That is the power, that is the potential we are sitting on, and we should make the best of it. That is success. Success is not what you achieve. Success is whatever you have. You use it fully. Fire all cylinders. And we are only asking for giving like half an hour every day in the morning. Chant God's name. That's all. You will see the difference. Take a 21-day challenge. And most importantly, the Bhagavad Gita study classes are on. So we'll enroll you into that. And please, 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 it's my prayer. Help yourself. Help people around you. There are too many people suffering. There are too many people suffering too much. And people are looking for this knowledge. And we are continuously running these batches. So feel free to connect to the connect people to this batch, and they can learn what we have learned. And I am also learning. You are also learning. We all keep learning lifelong. There is no limit, because Anandam Buddhivardhanam. In spiritual life, everything gets just better and better and better. So, Rama Mukund Prabhu, are there any other slides that we wanted to present?
No, bro, only last slide we had about, but you already covered it. Like, we encourage you to spread this message of upcoming device classes, and they can enroll. Either they can enroll by joining this WhatsApp group, or there is that link. Prabhu, if I can share
can
that.
Please show that slide, please.
Yeah.
Yes, so this is the slide, which is the address, our temple address, where anyone can register for device. So if you're watching this video out of context, you don't know how this arrived at you, and you want to connect with the device class, this is the place to start. With that, if there are other questions, we can take it. Otherwise, we wholeheartedly thank you for attending, joining, and we hope that you will enjoy Bhagavad Gita classes serially in future. And if you need anything from me, you know where to find me. And I also thank His Grace Rama Mukunda Prabhu, who is so amazing. And when Sunita ji can tell, when I was managing this on my own, it was one level of struggle, because I'm managing the logistics also, and I'm managing the teaching also. But now we are a team of two. We are able to do much better. So I really thank Ramakund Prabhu for joining this endeavor.
Thank you, Prabhu, for your association, and I'm learning a lot from you. And as you said, it is Anandam Buddhivardhanam. Yeah, I really want to express that it is really, as Prabhuji said, it is really Ananda Buddhivardhanam experience. This Krishna conscious experience is very good. I encourage all of you to take it up. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. That brings our graduation ceremony to the end. We are still open to continue with any questions or comments.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I had that one question again that I sent on the WhatsApp also. That if God is, that if God is inside us and is controlling each and everything what we do, think, or act, then how are we responsible for our actions?
Very good. Thank you for reminding that question. Ramakund Prabhu, you can stop sharing. We can do the question answer.
Yeah, sure.
So
bro.
Mataji, it is like this, right? You have your house, and you are preparing food for kids. You are giving them clothes. You are giving them all the facilities in the house, right? And you actually give them birth also. But if a kid grows up, goes to play in the neighborhood, and breaks the head of another child playing with him, are you responsible?
No, I'm not responsible, but this is what we tell na ki bachcho ko shuru se वैसी ही चीजें सिखाओ and all like that.
You did everything right, but बच्चे ने जाके या चलो सर फोड़ना बड़ी बात है, एक कान के नीचे लगा के आया मस्त. समझो आपका लड़का नितिन प्रभु जैसा स्ट्रांग है, हट्टा कट्टा है, हनुमान की याद दिलाता है, और उसे किसी ने कुछ टेढ़ा बोल दिया, उसने बजा दिया, आ गया घर पे. अब आप क्या कहोगे कि ये तो सारी मेरी गलती है?
नहीं.
So, because the child also has a free will. The child, although receives from parents, receives from society, has a free will about what to do. in what situation. और जैसे जैसे बड़े होते हैं उनका फ्री विल बढ़ते जाता है. At the age of 5 they will have one level of free will. At the age of 25 they will have another level of free will. At the age of 50 they will have another level of free will. ये जो फ्री विल है, स्वातंत्र शक्ति जो है, इच्छा शक्ति, वो इच्छा शक्ति भगवान का सबसे बड़ा गिफ्ट है. That is the biggest gift God has given to us. When God manifested, expanded as these small particular souls, जो आत्मा हम लोग हैं, जो भगवान से आए हैं, तो भगवान ने सबसे बड़ी चीज हमें क्या दी है? इच्छा शक्ति. कि आपकी इच्छा से आप जो करना चाहते हो वो कर लो. तो उस इच्छा का स्वातंत्र है जो है, फ्रीडम ऑफ विल जो है, you can use it positively or negatively. If you never use it negatively, and nobody never uses it negatively, then we have to doubt whether that freedom is real, right? But we used our freedom to come away from God. We use that freedom to be rebellious. और यहाँ पे सब जेलमेट्स है हम लोग, सब लोग. तो हम लोग कभी भी जल्दी से लाइन पे नहीं आते. That is why we have a jail within jail. कि उसमें भी जो ज्यादा बदमाश लोग हैं उनको और अंदर रखा जाता है. So the God has given an ecosystem. वो ecosystem में आप क्या करते हो? वो आपको फ्रीडम दिया हुआ है. फिर वो जो फ्रीडम दिया हुआ है, वो फ्रीडम आप जिस तरह से इस्तेमाल करोगे, उस तरह से आपका फ्रीडम बढ़ेगा या कम होगा. Now let me explain this. Based on how you use your free will, your freedom will grow or reduce. For example, somebody uses the freedom very wisely. He becomes the Prime Minister of India, right? Somebody uses their freedom incorrectly. Jayalalitha goes in jail, correct? Then Bihar ka Lalu Prasad, he goes in jail. So you have the freedom अच्छा यूज किया तो आपका फ्रीडम बढ़ जाता है. अगर फ्रीडम आपने अगर मिसयूज किया तो आपका फ्रीडम कम हो जाता है. That is in this life, in this human life. So even a dog, we have a Bangla house, we have a dog. If a dog is really well behaved, people allow the dogs in their bed. People allow the dogs on their dining table. People allow the dogs on the sofa. People keep the TV on when they go to office so that the dog have dog channels to look at. They have dog insurance, they leave inheritance for the dog, and when the dog dies, they cry for years. And a cousin of mine, he got into depression because his dog died, right? A well-behaved dog can produce so much impact in your life. But when the dog goes mad, मतलब उसने अभी उसका free will का गलत इस्तेमाल चालू किया, what do? They shoot the dog, right? The dog goes mad, you have to kill the dog. Or you have to tie him in the dog house, or you have to not allow him in the house, क्योंकि कभी भी आता है अपने प्लेट, आपके प्लेट में मुंह मार दिया. You will not allow the dog in the house or in the kitchen or in the dining table because the dog just comes and starts eating in your plate. So a well-behaved dog will get more freedom in the house. If an ill-behaved dog will get less freedom in the house. So इंसान हो, कुत्ता हो, हम सब आत्मा है. If we use our freedom in line with God's alignment, our freedom will grow. In 6th chapter, we are all told that just by taking little spirituality, like even as good as completing this device class, we have a certified entrance in the Swargaloka. Do you know that? If I gifted you Hawaii for 2 weeks free, will you be thankful to me? Yes. We all are thankful to Prabhupada. He has gifted us entrance to Swargaloka just by attending even device class or attending some kirtan in the ISKCON temple. Because what are ISKCON temples? These are the embassies of the spiritual world. What is Swargaloka? It's just a place of better enjoyment. तो आपको vacation तो आपका lock हो गया, उसमें कोई doubt नहीं है. Why say vacation? पुण्य खत्म होगा तो वापस आना पड़ता है as a human being. Again we start our spiritual or non-spiritual journey. And when we come back from Swarga, we could be in the Tata Birla's life. I am not joking. This is Prabhupada telling in Bhagavad Gita that when we come back to human life, we are born in such a rich family, we don't have to work or worry about money or food. Why? So that the free time can be used for spirituality and we can go back again. But if somebody does really amazing spirituality, but थोड़े से कुछ रह गया, then they would be born in a spiritualist family. और spiritualist family बचपन से ही भगवान का नाम सुनने को मिलता है, and then they can perfect their life in that lifetime and go back. So our freedom, when we go to Swarga, we live longer life, we have healthier life. The Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi is like minuscule, ज़्यादा touch नहीं है. This is तो almost है नहीं. Or you know, I can go on description of Swarga, but it's a much longer, much smarter, much intelligent, and much healthier, and much enjoying life. So आपका freedom बढ़ गया. But those who misuse their freedom, they go to say animal life. किसी को बहुत उड़ने की तमन्ना है, लेकिन लाइफ में कुछ अच्छा काम किया ही नहीं, ना कभी चैरिटी किया, ना किसी को हेल्प किया, ना किसी के बारे में कुछ अच्छा बोला. तो चलो नेक्स्ट लाइफ में उड़ने की तमन्ना है तो मस्कीटो बन गया. अब मस्कीटो करके वही उसका फ्रीडम है. एक रूम के अंदर उसका लाइफ खत्म हो जाता है. If a mosquito is stuck in an American house which doesn't have ventilation, the life is over within that house. So आपका फ्रीडम जो है कम ज्यादा होता है, but there is always a minute freedom available to you. That minute freedom that is available to you, by using it better, it grows. तो अगर आपको ज्यादा फ्रीडम चाहिए तो आपको दिया हुआ फ्रीडम ढंग से इस्तेमाल करना है. आप बच्चों को पॉकेट मनी दे दो और उसने आपको LSD का टैबलेट्स दिखाया, देखो मैं LSD खा रहा हूँ, तो आप उसको पॉकेट मनी दोगे? नहीं दोगे. तो लेकिन अगर उसने कुछ फ्लावर्स लाए और घर पे भगवान के लिए चढ़ाने के लिए चालू कर दिया, तो अरे इसको 10 रुपया दिया, इतना अच्छा काम करे, उसको 100 रुपए देते, 500 देते, 5000 देते. So we will give more freedom to anyone who will use that properly. Correct? अब कुछ लोगों को आप घर पे बुलाते हो, घर पे होस्ट करते हो, घर पे रहने के लिए बुलाते हो, because we know they will use that freedom properly. और कुछ लोग कमी नहीं होते, आप उनको ना घर पे बुलाओगे, ना खाने खिलाओगे, ना कुछ नहीं करोगे. So we in nature are like God. If you understand yourself, you have understood God. Atma जो है, that is also spiritual, and God is also fully spiritual. So by understanding your behavior, you understand God's behavior. If you want to anticipate what will God do to you, you have to see what you will do to your child. But understanding God is very easy. Just understand yourself. Does that help?
Ji Prabhu, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Any other questions? All right. With that, this program, this batch comes to an end, and the new beginning begins next Saturday. The time is slightly earlier. It is 7:30 Pacific time and 9 o'clock India time. With that, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Holiness Harivilas Maharaj ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Please pray for your
Hare
teachers
Krishna.
so that they can continue in this job.